You have a great grasp of the sport overall. And I'm not talking about on the field. I'm talking about the overarching sport. You've been very humble in saying that you don't have the qualifications for certain conversations, but I'm always so fascinated with what you say about the sport, because it seems like at the heart of it, you have the sport globally and what's best for it at heart. Are you ever conflicted at any point between what's good for the sport overall and what's good specifically for Alabama?
Well, if you would ask anybody else in our profession, they would answer that yes, because they think that everything that I say about the sport globally is to benefit Alabama, which is not really true. What I think, we have a great sport, and I think it's been great for a lot of people for a lot of years, including myself, when I had the opportunity to play for Don James, who had a great impact on my life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even got me headed in a direction that has been, something that I've enjoyed tremendously for many, many years. So I do look at the sport and the big picture of the sport and what's best for the sport, and not just for football, but what are the consequences of some of the things that we're doing now if we continue down this road, and how it impacts other sports and how it impacts opportunities for other people to play other sports that may not be revenue producing sports, but yet for many, many years have created opportunities for people to get an education,
Yep.
to better their quality of life down the road and have a chance to compete as college student athletes. I mean, I don't know, how does that impact all of them? So I really do try to think about what's best for the sport. And I mean, we have to deal with name, image, and likeness now. But when we started this a few years ago, and I said, is this what we want college football to become? I got criticized for saying that. And now people are saying, whoa, maybe we should be looking at this a little closer, because, maybe this isn't what we want college sports to become.
Do you think we need more parity in our sport? You guys have been dominant. There's other teams that are also dominating at times. Would you like to see more parity? And do you think that that's coming with the expanded playoff?
Well, I think all leagues want to create parity. If you look at the NFL,
Mhm.
they would love for everybody to be 8-8 going into the 17th game of the season, because every fan base and every city would be excited about what's the outcome of the next game. So parity creates a lot of excitement. I think it's harder to do in college football because we have so many different teams, and the fundamentals are different at the University of Alabama and as opposed to another school. And I don't want to mention another school, but a 1AA school, a Division II school, even a lower half, Division I school. The money's different, the dynamics are different, the investment that's made in the athletes and the program are different, and the value created for the athletes is different. So it's not all the same. So if we want to create parity, we would have to take, okay, this is a group of 60 teams or however many, I don't know what the number is, and these are the 4 or 5 leagues that we're going to have, and we may consolidate them, and we're going to try to create parity in a more refined group.
Sure.
I don't think that's the only way. That's probably the only way that you could accomplish that. But in the NFL, if you lose, you draft early. If you win, you draft late. You play a harder schedule if you win. You play an easier schedule if you lose. So, all those things rules are for parity.
Yeah.
So that there's interest. So our fan base, they want to dominate. So my job is to try to create a program here where we have the best chance to succeed and have success relative to the competition. But I think even in the SEC, when you add Texas and Oklahoma, there's going to be more parity, because there's probably going to be 6, 7 teams ranked in the top 20
Sure.
that are going to be playing each other. So, but the problem with the way the whole system is, there's no accounting for that.
Right.
So all we do is take the teams that win the most games at the end of the year and put them in the playoffs. But do you really get the best teams? You know,
Sometimes
when they told me that we would be favored against 3 out of the 4 teams that got in the playoffs, I'm like, well, why aren't we in the playoffs?
Sure.
Does that mean they have a better team, or does it mean that those people don't know what they're talking about? I really don't know that, but and I'm not being critical of anybody, but if you're going to have parity, you have to have a better way of figuring out who has the best teams, not just because you lose 2 games on the last play of the game
Yeah.
that knocks you out when you may be better than somebody else who didn't have the same circumstances that they had to play in.